All right, and we turn now to discussion of the upcoming game in Chicago this Saturday at 2 p.m. The Cannons take on the Denver Outlaws. Um, Two teams, I would say they both entered the All-Star break in a positive note. Denver obviously with a winning record at 3-2, Boston losing record at 2-4. But just both of you, what are your initial thoughts on this matchup and what the Cannons got to do right to come out with a win?
Yeah, definitely excited for this matchup. It's always a fun one against Denver. I feel like I would say it's been a bit of a up and down season for them, not quite as dominant as they were last year with the Teforaton, but they still have the Teforaton. So always a dangerous opponent. Just looking here, this is just the first thing that's coming to my mind when I'm looking through the preview on the PLL website. The PLL Labs actually has the Cannons with a 51.5% chance of winning. So pretty close, but slight edge to the Cannons. However, the fan vote is 91% Outlaws.
Yeah.
And that's a little heavy on Denver, but I certainly understand that sentiment just based off of how rough the first half of the season generally was for the Cannons. But looking at, I'm not a huge analytics guy, but looking at how the Cannons actually are technically favored does feel a little validating as a Cannons fan that I think before the matchup against the Redwoods definitely would have said, yeah, the Outlaws are probably gonna win this one. But we talked to Noel recently, and maybe the Canyons found something, and they'll shock the fans.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I would definitely their game against California was the best game they played all year. I think even including the 19-5 win over Philly. That was just such a freaky one. Whereas this, like, the Redwoods really fought hard for that. Um, yeah, the 91% fan vote for the Outlaws doesn't surprise me, unfortunately. I think they're definitely a popular team. They got a bunch of big names on offense. I'm not saying it's a bunch of Denver homers, but there are people who just see the names Kavanaugh and O'Neill and Bernhard and just like, and how can they stop them? But I think it's also good to remember, the Cannons put up quite a few goals on Denver last year. I believe 18-17 was the final,
Mm.
and that winning goal that shouldn't have counted. So I'd say the number one thing I'm looking out for in this game is just keeping Jared Bernhardt's feet outside the crease and making sure that we note every time that they
Some
are.
of us have still not forgotten.
No, I never will. That game should still be going on, should still be in overtime. Uh,
I think I think we've got a little spark that we saw last game. I think that I'm definitely looking forward to the face-off um, between Weirman and McMeekin to see how McMeekin does. I really like him. I mean, I know it's only been what 3 games played, but yeah, I definitely like what we're seeing so far as he's just getting his feet wet. Um, maybe this last game was a little bit of a turnaround for us where we are finally starting to make more connections and get our feet under us. Um, I think that the Outlaws, I mean, although they aren't putting out what they did last year, they are a very strong team. And I think that there's some matchups that are going to be really good. They're going to challenge us for sure. But I think that it's going to be a really good game.
yeah,
Yeah, to your point about McMeekin, yeah, it's only been 3 games, but it's been 3 good games. And I was
Hmm.
watching the latest episode of The Scoop that dropped today, and they're talking about McMeekin's start, and Cannons are 53% on the faceoff now for the 26 or for the 2026 season. Fun fact, that's the first time that the Cannons have been over 50% since 2019 when they were still in the MLL.
Oh boy.
So
Wow.
McMe again, we're only partway through the season,
Yeah.
and 6 games in, three with McMeekin, but that's the first time in PLL history that the Cannons have ever been over 50% for at any point in the season, I believe is how the phrasing of the stat went.
Hmm.
Um,
That is wild.
so pretty pretty good start there for McMeekin.
Yeah. And I would say, he did pretty much go toe-to-toe with TD early on last week. I think Weirman was above 50% against TD, but I think wound up losing a couple to go just below it when the Redwoods and Outlaws played. So assuming that matchup, assuming those like percentages kind of translate, then I would guess he'd be, they'll both win around 50% this
Yeah,
time.
I don't know what Weirman is specifically, but as a team, the Outlaws are at 47.1% for the season.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I think something else that I am excited about too is the Cannons defense just looked like it was in such disarray last year, and we've seen that for a lot of this year as well. But if, hopefully the Redwoods game, one, gave them just confidence and knowing that they can win a tough game against a good opponent. Um,
Hmm.
but two, in their individual abilities and in their team abilities, we saw um, Owen Grant shut down Dylan Malloy. Maybe he can do something similar against Brennan O'Neill. I'm not saying shut down, but particularly if that ankle is still bothering Brennan O'Neill and he can't just get as much force to like bully his way to the net and sweep across, then Owen Grant's a very big guy. Maybe he can keep pushing him back, keep him from getting to those spots that he wants to. And then the other level, we saw Will Donovan bump down and do a great job on Chris Kavanagh. They don't have exactly identical skill sets, but he was also teammates with Pat Kavanaugh, so maybe they want to keep that matchup the same as well. And if you can limit those two players, then I mean that limits a lot of what the Outlaws like to do on offense. I mean, it's been a great year for Logan Wisnauskas, but I think we all agree that like the offense, like the party kind of starts with Kavanaugh and O'Neill.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I guess Bernhardt's always going to scare me. One specifically because of last year, and two, like for now at least, it's not gonna last him forever, but like that speed he's got is just really tough to counter. So, do you have any ideas on who the Cannons would put on him if it's just going to be, assuming he's running out of the midfield again? Like, is it just the pole goes on him, or do they try to? Um,
I think you gotta just put the pull, the LSM on him. Yeah, again, assuming that it is him running out of the box, just from a logistical standpoint, that I think it's too complicated and too many things can go wrong if you're trying to match a close defender off of a midfielder coming out of the box. And their whole attack line it is baller.
yeah,
So you need to keep your three close D down low on attack. Don't trust the LSM coming out of the box to go cover, whether it's O'Neill or Wisnauskas, whoever, we're assuming that Donovan does end up play close D and goes on Chris Kavanagh. Although he could actually be up at LSM if
yeah.
Hunter Smith is back. So then maybe there is an argument for dropping him down. But I think honestly, if if that were if they really wanted to put Donovan on Kavanaugh and Hunter Smith was back, I think you put Owen Grant up at LSM for this game, run him out of the box and have him take Wisnauskas.
Along with Ethan Roll. Yeah.
And Ethan Rawl, yes.
Yeah.
Of course, not saying that Ethan Rawl
Right.
uh, isn't out there, but
Yeah. So we hope Ethan has been getting his sprints in around the his all-star responsibilities to make sure he's fleet of foot because you feel like they're going to wind up being matched on each other quite a bit unless we did see I think Brendan O'Neill come out of the box towards the end of the Outlaws last game. Um, so maybe that's something they try to go with, in which case I think you definitely bump Owen Grant up to LSM to try to cover O'Neill that way.
yeah,
Uh,
I love Ethan Rawl, but if he's covering O'Neill coming out of the box, that's not a successful long-term recipe.
yeah, you can't unless he gets very lucky with his stick checks.
Yeah.
Which, and given how far away Brendan O'Neill likes to keep his stick, doesn't seem likely. Um, Offensive side of the ball, um, I saw Matt Campbell available to pick up in fantasy without a injury designation next to his name. I did
Hmm.
not see that he had been taken off the pup list.
Well, there's
Um,
still a few days though
yeah,
for that to happen officially. So the fantasy knows something that we don't
yeah, because
yet again.
I forget who I saw on it, but there certainly was someone in fantasy who was listed as out. PL injury report doesn't have anyone yet because they don't have to yet. So let's see if you go to play.
Maybe one day they'll be able to be really on top of updating that.
Maybe one day. Hunter Smith
It
is still listed
drives
as
me
out.
nuts.
Hunter
What
Smith's
about
listed as out,
he is still out? All right,
along with
well,
Stathikus, Krevsky, Giles Harris. That's big for Boston too. If he can't play,
yeah. Well,
Luke
so
Roa
if Hunter Smith is still out, then yeah, I think you have Will Donovan down low on Kavanaugh. I think that you put Owen Grant.
on O'Neill.
Oh, yeah. Well, or do you want Keelty on O'Neill? 'Cause either guy
Yeah.
is a big body and can be physical against O'Neill. So honestly, I'm not totally sure it matters one way or the other. Because yeah, if you have Wisnauskas, hmm, I think Keelty feels like the big body to throw on O'Neill and put Grant on
Was nasty.
Wisnauskas just because I think Keelty's slightly bigger than Grant, so I think he would handle the size matchup just a little bit more.
It depends on he's also, like the organizer. So like who I mean it's he's also like often covering the guy at X. So I don't know.
Yeah,
A lot of different ways they could do it. And I feel
and
like Donovan's pretty fleet of foot too, so maybe they want him on Bernhardt. Um
yeah,
yeah, it's gonna share a lot, reveal a lot. I'm very interested to see those matchups.
and to the point of potentially O'Neill coming out of the box late in the game, that lends itself to having Grant there
Yeah,
because he can be that hybrid LSM close D.
for sure. Um all right, going back to the offensive side of the ball. Um,
Yes,
yeah, so obviously if Campbell's healthy enough to play, he's playing. Um, Mick Kelly's got to play. Jack Regnary's got to play. Um,
Weishar.
Weissar, and then I guess it depends on trainers like health and coaches' desire to have him out there because you feel like if he's healthy enough and playing, then it's Goodrich, Trainer, Ramsey on defense, and Connor Kirst is probably that fifth offensive mid. If
Hmm.
Trainer can't go or coach doesn't want him to go, if he wants Connor Kirst out there, then Kirst is the third D mid, and then that opens it up for I guess Logan Ip again, or um,
Kurtz,
or yeah, Ty Kurtz,
Hog.
or yeah, oh Graydon Hogg, geez, yeah, because great, yeah, I would, yeah, I don't know, maybe I mean. maybe that is the reason. Hogg has played really, really well this year, where maybe coach just really wants him out there. So you'd have Hogg, Campbell, Weissar, Rigneri, and McKelly, and then you have Kirst, Ramsey, and Goodrich on defense. Um, I don't know. And then obviously if Campbell doesn't play, then this gets a little bit easier. Because I feel like Hogg plays for sure in that situation, and then it's just
Mhm.
between Trainer and Ty Kurtz probably because we love our hometown boys as it were, but Logan Ip has not really done anything to
He's having a
Warrants
slow
another.
start.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean
to
they signed Michael Lampert too, so there's a chance that we see him at some point.
give him some action, but yeah, so maybe if Campbell is out, that it's the opportunity to throw Lampert in there and see what he has.
Yeah. Because we were definitely getting to that point, obviously for the Cannons specifically where they are in the standings, but where teams need to know what their best 19 guys they can throw out there is.
Right. Well, if that's the case, then don't don't give Lampert
Right.
a shot unless he's stellar. Because you go with the guys that you're comfortable with. Because I mean, uh, assuming Trainer is healthy, we know that he's capable of being one of the best 19 guys.
For sure. I mean, it's hard not to throw the lineup out there that won against California. I know that did
Right.
include Logan Ip. We're saying that it's maybe not it. Um, Also Remy
But the
Reynolds,
fifth
right?
mid,
Yeah,
eh, I mean, Ip's been invisible in 2 games, so it I wouldn't. It's tough to call that truly your best 19, or that it would make a difference if you swapped
totally.
him out and bumped Curse back up to O mid and put Trainer in at D mid.
Yeah,
Honestly, that is probably a bet that I think is a better lineup because clearly Kirst can play 2 ways. He's been officially listed at both OMID and DMID, and Trainer was an OMID in college. We're all well aware of his offensive prowess, so he is a DMID that can really push it in transition, but Logan Ip hasn't really done anything on offense, and he's not a guy that I have any confidence in getting stuck on defense as well.
yeah. I mean, at this very moment, I would take Jeff Trainer on offense or Connor Kirst, which is
Yeah, I would take both of them as an omit over Logan Ip, to be quite frank, at this point.
yeah, yeah. Which is not. I mean, obviously, this is not saying that we don't believe in him or that we don't want him to succeed. Of course, but
Just
hopefully, an off season of work and kind of adjusting to the pro game will help him out and
right.
give him a second chance. But um, yeah, unless there's a rash of injuries, it feels like we shouldn't see Logan out there again, unless, or maybe he takes massive strides in the next month, and we do. I mean, we probably should still see him at homecoming one of those games. That would be a pretty big disappointment. Um,
From a fan perspective,
yeah,
fair enough.
yeah. Jerry Byrne would make us have a very angry phone call with one of the Rabels if we don't see Logan up in that lineup. I think.
That is
Yeah.
probable.
So yeah, and of course we'll see where the Cannons are in the standings at that point. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully they're in a better situation than they were at homecoming last year,
Agreed.
and certainly with better
Yeah.
results.
Yeah.
Absolutely agreed.
Um, all right, let's see. Any other points you wanted to talk about for um this matchup? I Last year I know it was the throwback jerseys. That is not happening this weekend. That's correct? I have not heard
I
anyone.
haven't seen anything about it. Yeah, I was just thinking
Yeah.
about that today. Obviously, there was nothing in Rhode Island, and now we're getting nothing in Chicago, it looks like, because they're already teasing Indigenous for Fairfield. So I'm expecting the throwback weekend would be Columbus.
Yeah, it's got to be at this point.
But one other note on the match was just Logan McNaney is good, and
Yeah.
that they're the clean saves and clearing, especially. they're really good. So the transition game is definitely going to be huge to um, make
Mhm.
sure that we can put a lid on that aspect of their game.
Yeah, I know, like the that is another thing to take into account when coming up with that lineup is, you know, we talk so much about not us personally, but the league talks about McNaney's clean save percentage and especially with how fast Tarafenko and Geddes are that like you definitely need middies who you trust to not immediately get blown by in transition and if they do get trapped out there. Um
AKA Connor Curse.
yeah. I don't know how it keeps happening. It feels like once or twice a game we see Marcus Holman down on defense. And
Yeah, I don't
I know the way the PLL does it. It's basically just the three closest guys run back, and if Marcus is looking for a two, then that means he's pretty far up. But like, I don't know. Can we have a little bit of feel like if Mick Kelly is like 2 yards behind him, that maybe Mick Kelly goes and plays defense instead? He's a young
I
guy. He still can run fast. Yeah,
hey, I'm with you, but you
yeah,
got to ask Brian that one.
right. No, I'm sure Marcus doesn't necessarily want to be out there. Um, yeah, let's hope we can figure out why that keeps happening and then stop it.
Agreed.
Uh, I'm sure that Denver would love to see Marcus out there as well, on that side of the field.
So,
Yeah. Um, yeah, it definitely gives me some confidence with how many goals Boston scored against Denver last year. Because and like I said, Blaze Reardon is in my head for sure as a Cannons fan. Because I don't think the Cannons have really ever had a great game against him. I think the only time the Cannons beat the Chaos in the last couple of years was when he left the game early. Or at least he
Mhm.
missed part of the game. I think it was
well,
that like golf shot from Drenner that won it in overtime.
oh yes, yes.
But then they put up four in that playoff game.
And
Um,
Blaze left at halftime in the first
yep,
game of the year, and they still won. So,
yeah. So
but
at least in one game against McNaney they put in 17. Obviously, there's some roster turnover from year to year, but um, yeah, I feel optimistic. Especially because Boston seems to have found something in California, and we hope that sticks. But um, yeah, I mean, McNaney's got to be a goalie of the year finalist, and he was goalie of the year last year. So
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah. Any other thoughts on other matchups? It looks like it's East-West in every game this weekend, so that makes it easy to know who to root for in each matchup. We'll go California over Philly, Utah over New York, and then Carolina against Maryland. And that would, if somehow all of those happen, that would put Boston in a very nice position after the weekend.
Well, let's keep our fingers and toes crossed then.
Yep. Yeah, that I'm glad how they did that. That is usually not how it works out. Um,
Yeah, it's definitely a very cool way to do it, especially on a neutral site and in a city like Chicago that really is splitting the east west there.
yeah. Um,
So
right. Yeah, no lineups I guess out yet, so we can't go too specific, but it feels like we've covered most of the hypotheticals. Giles Harris being out would definitely be big for the Cannons if that holds true as we saw in the fantasy app. But again, who knows? I still don't think I expect Campbell to play, but we'll see.
What
Yeah.
about some predictions?
Oh yeah, of course. We gotta end it that way. Um, Jack, why don't you start us off with the Homa prediction?
yeah, I guess I think given last year's score, it feels like it's got to be another somewhat high scoring affair. I don't know if we're gonna get what was it, 18-17
I believe so.
last year. That feels a little high, but I'll go 16-14 Cannons.
Hmm. I'm gonna go 17-16 Cannons. I'm gonna say we come up just short. of last year. Or I can say the Cannons score the same amount, but Denver scores fewer.
All right.
I'm gonna go, obviously, I believe in the Cannons winning. Um, Cannons are gonna win. I think it's gonna be, I was thinking about this earlier. I think maybe like 15-12 Cannons. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take any of those results, right? As long as it's a Cannons win.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, we should have probably mentioned this earlier. I feel like Pat Cavanaugh is going to have quite a lot to say to the Cannon sidelines every time he scores, especially after Asher Knowlton got released. I was,
There should probably be some jawing.
yeah,
Uh, I would expect.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
like, I hope the league mics him up, but also I don't know if it'll all be appropriate to air. So it might be
Mm,
like the fire. Um,
maybe it'll be a little bit of a higher scoring game than I said.
yeah,
Now that you mention that, it's a
yeah.
good point.
Because I think he had 5 or 6 points when they played last year, and I was pretty confident he was gonna want to show out to prove Coach Ullman wrong.
No.
I hate that he's good.
Yeah,
I think because he doesn't play for us. I think it gets under my skin a little bit. I'm like, okay, we get it. We know you're good and we should have played you more. Let it go.
if he had stayed in Boston, I think he definitely would have won the X attack spot last year, and obviously he would have won it this year.
Hmm.
If Brian Kelly puts up another 5 points, I think the Cannons win for sure.
Let's
But
hope for that
Yeah.
then.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, specifically like if Brian Kelly and Coulter Mackesy play like they played in California, I think the Cannons are going to win. Um, but we got to get out there, wait and see. So Saturday at
Mhm.
2 p.m. they will take on the Denver Outlaws. If you want to root on the Western Conference teams against Boston's other Eastern Conference opponents, those will be Friday at 6:30 and 9. And then the nightcap on Saturday. Oh, that's a late Saturday night lacrosse, 9:30, Maryland and Carolina on Saturday.
Mm.
Oof.
Yeah.
I guess 8:30 local, but still
Yeah, that's still kind of a late start time. But
it is.
all right, we'll be back this Monday to recap the game, whatever the result. Um, but until then, go Cannons, go Guard.
Go Cannons, go Guard.
Go Cannons, go Guard.
Boom.
Boom.